This video will demonstrate the proper setup and the operation of our Hft-2000. The Hft-2000 can hold a T35 or T60, and the nice feature of this table is that you can remove the handheld unit, go to the job site, or walk around the shop. By taking it off, you remove these 4 screws, remove the cable holder, and unhook the cable. Be sure not to over tighten these bolts because the legs will seize up. Just make them snug where the machine is tightly held onto the body, but do not over tighten. Just making sure that they're not over tightened. You should be fairly freely be able to move these feet up and down. Next, I'm going to show the proper setup of the Hft-2000. And let's start off by looking at the tube support. What we have here is a rail underneath. This is only to be used if you're using tubing 1 inch and below. So in this case, we're going to practice with a 2.5 inch tubing. So you take this off. There's 2 screws that it fastens on to these V blocks. But in this case, since we're using a 2.5 inch one, we don't need this. For bigger than 1 inch tubing, you just use these V blocks here, V supports, and they're adjustable. The first V block is the front stop, so you should never remove that, never touch it, because then it will alter your actual length. So what we'll do now is we'll get our tube, and we want to find the desired location for the supports. In this case, since we have a fairly short piece of tubing, I'm just going to use one, and our copper 2.5 inch copper tubing is fairly sturdy, so we don't need any more supports underneath. It comes with 4 of these support blocks, but in this case, I feel fairly certain that this is enough support. So now what we're going to do is we're going to tighten that one up. And it's a metric hex wrench, the number 5. There's 2 screws here. Just tighten down. And now what we want to do is we want to hold on to the we're going to hold on to the pipe so it doesn't move. The Hft-2000 has these clamps, so basically you can place them anywhere along. In this case, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to hold on to the end of the tube. So I want my location there. And now what we want to do is we want to adjust the height. And you loosen these levers up and you find the correct height. What I want to do is place it approximately right there. And what I do is I leave the lever a little bit open and touch the tube, and you tighten down. So what you can do at the last end, you can just squeeze it to this nudge so it holds it firmly in place. And I do the same thing on the front one. I'm going to have it pretty much right there. Find the correct height again. And what I want to do is just open it up a little bit and tighten the top up a little bit, and that should be nicely in place. Now the next thing we're going to do is that we're going to adjust the column height to the proper tube size. So what we do naturally is that we want to have the feet fully extended. And at that point, there's a lever here that lets us adjust the column height. Topmost position that goes all the way down. So what you want to do is just barely touch the top of the pipe or the tubing and lock the column in place. So now the feet are able to, when they're fully extended, they should just barely touch the tube. now what we can do is we can start to produce the teas. So the next thing what we're going to go through is the actual process of pulling teas. The first thing that operator does is find the first location of the tea. So there's two ways. He can use the measuring device that it's already, there's a ruler mounted onto the table, and there's a little line on the sled itself. Now what this does is this tells me how far the center of the outlet is from the end of the pipe or the tube. So what we're going to, if the drawings call out for the center line of the tea needs to be 10 inches from the end of the tube, so you just align the line up with a ruler. Use a locking device. You lock the table firmly in place, and now we just do the same process as you've been instructed by using the tea drill. So what we want to do is lubricate the head. Drill the hole. Extend the forming pins. Engage the feed mechanism. Now what you want to do is disengage the feed. Pull the pins back. Open up the lever and go to your next location. And let's say if the drawings call out for 13 inches from the end, you just repeat the sequence again.